Tonight, I've changed. Not as much as Bruce Jenner, obviously. Now Caitlyn Jenner, of course. What a year she's had. She became a role model for trans people everywhere, showing great bravery in breaking down barriers and destroying stereotypes.
Just because you're offended doesn't mean you're right. Offense is all about feelings, and feelings are personal. Some people get offended by things like equality, and so what? You can't try to please everyone. If you do, you end up pleasing no one. Jazz had enough of the politics in Hollywood.
You are politically incorrect and hilarious, of course.
Thank you.
And so,
Thank you.
So this is,
well, yeah. Well, that's the thing about offence, isn't it? When people say they're offended, it's that just because you're offended, it doesn't.
In front of some of the biggest stars in the industry and called them out directly. This British-American comedian and actor has spent years sharing his unfiltered thoughts on the growing influence of woke culture in Hollywood. And he's not shy about making it clear exactly what he thinks. Ricky Gervais, known for his sharp wit and no-holds-barred comedy, is especially critical of Hollywood celebrities who push their personal political agendas on their fans. He's called out the hypocrisy and the tendency of some stars to use their platforms to lecture others about things like voting, climate change, and social issues. He mocks how these so-called influencers talk down to their audiences. Hi guys, Ricky G here. Wellness and beauty influencer. As a celebrity, I know all about things like science and politics, so
People, if you try and please everyone, you'll please no one. With comedy as well, I think you've got to deal with taboos and contentious issues, and sometimes you deal in irony, and some people don't get that, but, you know, you can't legislate against stupidity, otherwise you'll be doing nothing. So, if you're saying anything, you should polarize.
vote for. If you don't vote the right's way, that's basically a hate crime. It makes me sad. And I'll leave the country if you don't listen. It's a funny clip, sure, but beneath the humor, Ricky makes a pointed critique of celebrities who seem to think their opinions are more important than anyone else's. He's been consistent in his criticism, often calling out stars for being out of touch with the reality most people face. It's not about their talent, he says. It's about their attention.
I don't care anymore. I'm joking. I never did. NBC clearly don't care either. Fifth time.
Views. One of the ways Ricky exposes the absurdity of it all is through his comedy. He uses his sharp, insightful humor to call out the contradictions of woke culture, often illustrating the ridiculousness of laws and trends that don't make sense. You can get sued in this country for saying someone's gay if they're not, which sounds like a
Offensive tweets. Hello? Lucky for me, the Hollywood foreign press can barely speak English.
But you can't get sued for saying someone's not gay if they are. How is that fair? Despite the controversy surrounding his comments, Ricky doesn't care. He knows his opinions are going to spark outrage, but he's never been one to back down. His Netflix special, Supernature, for example, caused a huge stir. But for Ricky, the backlash is just part of the territory. One of the most notable moments came when he joked about Caitlyn Jenner, calling her by her previous name. The woke community branded this as dead naming, a term used when someone refers to a transgender person by their name before they transitioned. For Ricky, though, this whole issue highlights the strange lengths people are going to erase history to protect a set of beliefs. It's hard to ignore how absurd it is that someone like Bruce Jenner, who used that name for 58 years, now seems completely erased by the emergence of Caitlyn Jenner. But let's face it, the identity of Bruce Jenner isn't just wiped away.
A platform to make a political speech, right? You're in no position to lecture the public about anything. You know nothing about the real world. Most of you spent less time in school than Greta Thunberg. So, if you win, right, come up, accept your little award, thank your agent, and you're
Public may focus on Caitlyn now. What's really fascinating about Ricky Gervais is his masterful use of sarcasm. He calls out the woke crowd, exposing the flaws in their approach. Take, for example, his criticism of virtue signaling, when people loudly proclaim their good intentions, often for the sake of looking good to others. Yeah, I'm not a fascist, Ricky quips. It's not exactly a bold declaration, is it? We wouldn't go around saying that in everyday life, would we? Ricky often points out how some people seem to use their supposed fight for minorities as a tool to make themselves appear morally superior. It's almost as if they treat other struggles as a way to score points for themselves. And when someone challenges those opinions, they're shut down and attacked by the very people who claim to be fighting for progress. Ricky calls it out for what it is: hypocrisy.
Not all women. I mean the old-fashioned ones. You know, the old-fashioned women. Oh, God. You know, the ones...
With these woke voices, Apple, Amazon, Disney. If any group with a truly questionable reputation, say, a terrorist organization, started a streaming service, they'd still jump on board. The hypocrisy is unbelievable. And when it comes to using their platform to preach political speeches, Ricky doesn't hold back. If you win an award, he warns, don't use it to lecture people on things you don't understand.
For ladies! They are ladies. Look at their pronouns. What about this person that isn't a lady? Well, his penis. Her penis, you f***ing bigot.
You're not in touch with the real world. To illustrate just how far the woke crowd has gone with their tendency to be offended, Ricky shares a personal story. I once tweeted a picture of myself with a big belly and said, "Dear worst, insult me." Some people immediately said I was fat-shaming myself. Seriously? Me fat-shaming me?
Or press, particularly the industry press in America, was like, why is he saying these awful things to the most beautiful people? You know, and then by the fifth time, right, they were going, good, give it to him, we're sick of celebrity.
Ricky shares a personal story. I once tweeted a picture of myself with a big belly and said, "Dear worst, insult me." Some people immediately said I was fat-shaming myself. Seriously? Me fat-shaming me? It's become almost comical, the things people choose to be offended by. Ricky can't believe how actively some people search for reasons to be upset just for the sake of being ups.
As a celebrity, I know all about stuff, like science and politics. So trust me when I tell you who you should vote for. If you don't vote the right way, it's like a hate crime. It makes me sad and angry, and I'll leave the country. And you don't want that.
They wear masks and capes and really tight costumes. Their job isn't acting anymore. It's going to the gym twice a day and taking steroids, really. Have we got an award for most ripped junkie? No. Franchise. He said they're not real cinema and they remind him of theme parks. I agree. Although I don't know what he's doing hanging around theme parks. Just like Jeffrey Epstein. Shut up. I know he's your friend, but I don't care.
Just because you're offended doesn't mean you're right. Offense is all about feelings, and feelings are personal. Some people get offended by things like equality, and so what? You can't try to please everyone. If you do, you end up pleasing no one. Jazz had enough of the politics in Hollywood. He stood up in front of some of the biggest stars in the industry and called them out directly. This British-American comedian and actor has spent years sharing his unfiltered thoughts on the growing influence of woke culture in Hollywood. And he's not shy about making it clear exactly what he thinks. Ricky Gervais, known for his sharp wit and no-holds-barred comedy, is especially...
I've heard a rumour that there might be a sequel to Sophie's Choice. I mean, that'd just be Meryl Streep going, well, it's got to be this one then. One thing that can't be bought is a Golden Globe. Officially. I'm not going to do this again anyway. But if you were to buy one, the man to see would be